Hi guys, I hope that you're all safe and well. I never know where to look on this thing because I'm doing this from my Facebook portal because it's obviously going to be a longer video, so running time is easier to record on my portal. So New Year's blessings to you. You may have seen my little January video that I've already done. So this is actually pre-recorded as well, this video from yesterday, because I wasn't sure what kind of energy I was going to be in today, if I was going to be worse for wear or not, because I was going to have a few little cheeky drinks. Um, so so I wasn't sure. But I'm just coming on to do the year-long tarot scope sort of spread for you, so you can have an idea and you can be cautious and be careful and just see a little bit about what you need to know about for 2023 and what 2023 will hold for us all. Sorry, croaky voice. So what I thought I would do for this particular video is I was actually going to use my Everyday Tarot, which is the deck that I actually read for when I do my little readings, on Zoom or in person. That's actually the deck I've been working with a lot over the last kind of year or so. And I love it. And it's only a cheapo deck from the works, but it's actually really cool in terms of tarot. So I really, really like this one. So that's what I'm going to be sort of using for this particular video. And for those of you that saw my other video, you'll know that I'm using the Bones Tarot for each of the monthly videos that we do in a deeper breakdown. And then what we'll do at the end of this one, I'll conclude the sort of reading with one of my Wizard Rune Oracle cards, which will be really nice just to sort of finish off as an overall theme or something we need to know about for the complete year ahead. Now, I just want to say, guys, this video is obviously for entertainment purposes only and experimentation. Obviously, because I'm doing this as a collective, this is like a generalized sort of reading. So this just gives you a little bit of something to be cautious, to be careful, just to get an overall theme or feel about. But obviously, if you're wanting something a lot more personal or a lot more in depth, then we can do obviously my yearly reading for you directly, which will give a lot more input and a lot more finding, and kind of go from there. But hopefully this will kind of act as a bit of a baseline for 2023 and will help some of you lovelies. Oh, my portal's deciding to zoom in a little bit. It does do that now and again. Okay, so as we're going into January time, this takes us into the energy of the star. I really love the star. It's one of my favorite cards within the tarot. The star is all about hopes, dreams, realization of goals, everything coming together, everything coming good. And also what's great with the star is it's a time to shine, but it's also a time to keep things really real. So often with the star, a person has been through quite a lot of personal healing. They've shed quite a lot of negativity. They've shed quite a lot of old layers of crap that no longer work for them. And essentially, they're keeping it real. So I think as a collective energy, January for a lot of us is going to be really prosperous. It's going to be really good. And actually, we're really sort of keeping it real as we move forward. We're really going to start to look at what do we want? How do we want our life to be? What are our hopes? What are our dreams? What are the things we want to actually discover? What are the things we want to be part of? And the star can essentially access and have all of those great experiences once we know what those things are. What's great with this, she's got the bowls and sort of with the water sort of flowing from one to the other. So the star is all about everything being very balanced emotionally. So things are coming good, things are coming together. And it is really a time to shine your best light into the world. Something that has really kind of been quite prominent for me over the last couple of months is the fact that we're not here for very long on Earth. So do everything you can do for as long as it's accessible, because there'll be a point in time where that will be taken away from us. So it's really, really important with this card to shine as brightly as we can. And sometimes that can be hard going because it takes dedication, it takes effort. Sometimes people just expect it to be given on a plate, but actually it's worth the investment because actually you'll get some amazing returns back from the universe. It's that whole thing of what you put in, you get back out. So that's really being encouraged with this. Also, the star is all about self-identity. So getting to a point in January for a lot of us, we're at peace with ourselves. We're maybe a work in progress, but we're starting to really focus on, the things that we want to sort of be and how we want our life to be moving forward. I know a lot of people may look into dietary stuff, they may look into certain types of fitness, health, just getting routines in place. So the star can encourage and have some of that personal growth and aliveness as well. It's an interesting time of like just literally being the best you can for yourself, to yourself, and then everything else will spill over around you essentially. So really, really cool card, this one. Now, as we're moving into February time, we're going into the King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles, a really cool card. Basically, whatever you touch has the power to turn to gold. There may be a flow of abundance, there may be a flow of wealth and new prosperity. The kings do not sacrifice, they do not suffer. They make sure their world works for them. So if you're someone that's been having a few problems from a financial space, or if you've just been trying to sort of maybe tailor sort of maybe a career path or ways forward, and it's not necessarily clicking in as quickly as you would like, money is going to be the theme throughout February. Things are going to be really great. Things are going to start to improve. Things are going to start to get better for you. You've got all these lovely kind of luxurious grapes, which represent sort of, finer living. And he's holding the pentacle here. He's in control of the experiences. Essentially, money, wealth, all these great things are going to kind of come good. They're going to find you. You may be somebody that isn't particularly materialistic, but that's not a problem necessarily. This is just saying that February is going to feel quite kind of comfortable, quite smooth for a lot of us. And there is this flow of abundance. There is this flow of prosperity. And I'm not saying that we need money to be happy, but if we have money in our bank, it tends to allow us to do more things. So we often get to have greater and better experiences. And that's the other aspect with them, sort of the King of Pentacles. It's not just about the wealth he has, it allows him a lifestyle where he can do things, he can explore, he can have the best of what he seeks, what he desires. So February is looking to be pretty high vibe energy. So you might find that there's some interesting stuff that kind of goes on that actually feels really positive, really good, and you just feel really connected to what you're doing. So it's a really, really good time of, just general sort of well-being, but certainly financial success awaits you. If you've been thinking about ideas, projects, stuff you'd like to do, but you're a bit unsure, this would be a very good time to turn your hand to those things, because it's saying it will pay off, it will come good for you, essentially. Now, as we're moving forward, we're moving into the energy of March, and we're going into the Six of Cups. So March takes us into a card of sort of nostalgia. So some of us may be sort of thinking about sort of the crossover from winter into springtime. There could be some sort of planning and some bits and pieces that you're looking at there. But also, as we move into the March season, there could be for some of you a heightened awareness about memories. There could be some anniversaries, some birthdays, some celebrations. Sometimes that gets your mind thinking a little bit more than perhaps it would usually. And March is also about, it's almost like, because it's sort of past nostalgia, it's just reminiscing on the history of your sort of timeline, what you've come to experience, what you've come to do already. For some people, as sort of the clock of life moves on, it might be that there's some role reversal. So it may be for some of you that once obviously were cared for by parents, maybe those roles are slowly changing, and maybe you're finding that you're having to become the carer or guardian for people around you. So there could be a little bit of healing as well that's happening throughout March time. So be cautious, be aware of that, because sometimes this can represent change of dynamic, where sort of the person we once looked up to as being our sort of guardian and our protector, it's like those roles change and our position changes, and we now have to protect, those energies. So you might be met with a little bit of that. It could be for some people as well, like you've lost loved ones very dear to you, and this maybe just represents a time period where that's thought about a little bit more than usual. So be aware of March time. Now, as we're moving forward, we're moving into the energy of April. April takes us into the world. The world is another really positive, really high vibe card. So the world essentially can be whatever you want it to be. So once more, you're being encouraged to look at your world, make sure you've got the great stuff happening within it. But if there's anything that sort of devalues or isn't sort of giving you the highest experience, move it along, make the changes. The world tends to be an ending of cycles that you've outgrown or have just come into a state of completion, and the beginning stages of something brand new, the accessibilities of something brand new. Also, what's really important with the card of the world is you have all these kind of characters around the edge which represent the elements, so like the fire, the air, the earth, and the water, and the internal spirit that lies and resides within. So it's a really, really important time to live your best life. She's happy, she's harmonious within this card. So this will be a time period where there will be lots of laughter, lots of fun, lots of adventures, just lots of great projects to sort of really get your teeth into. The world is going to be really, really hopeful, really positive for many of you throughout April time. So hopefully as we move into sort of 2023, we're really going to start to get back into that energy of like living again, because I know for the last couple of years, certainly since the COVID stuff, so many people have felt scared to almost come back to life. And it's like, this feels to me like we're actually getting that now a little bit, which is going to be great. Now, as we're moving forward into May time, we're going into the energy of the Three of Wands. Three of Wands, again, it's a focus on the future. There's a bit of focus on how you want things to be in a longer term state and time. For some of you, you might get involved in a bit of travel with this time period. This card can also suggest that there could be some travel, there could be some adventures overseas, over water. Hence, we've got the boats on the sort of sea front. But also, this is a time period to put your best foot forward. So if you've been a bit fearful, if you've been a bit scared to make certain changes, now is the time to not just sort of think about ideas and hopes or dreams that could happen. It's time to harness everything. It's time to actually bring things into physical manifestation. These things can physically manifest and come good for you. And because it's 3, it's a power number. It's all about manifesting what we think, we attract, and in return, that experience, as long as it's not taking away a person's free will, can manifest and essentially can come really good for you. So this is definitely a planning time, but it's definitely a time for investment. And if you feel a bit scared, if you feel a little bit fearful to kind of just go for it, don't hold yourself back. It's a really important time for growth. And by doing that, what's interesting here, as we move into June time, we're going into the Three of Pentacles. June is going to be really prosperous for lots of you. There could be some sort of steps up the ladder. So June time, the Three of Pentacles, this is usually about, again, good sort of financial choices are sort of being sort of taken. Could well be a job opportunity or a promotion that comes in. Maybe for some of you, you're deciding to go your own way and become your own boss in something. Again, there's flow, there's abundance, there's prosperity. Working hard, not kind of having things always given to you on a plate, doing the hard work, doing the hard graft, but investing up the ladder. So you may find as we go into June time that there starts to be a heightened awareness of abundance, prosperity. Things that maybe felt completely out of reach before are suddenly coming together, suddenly coming good. And it's a really, really great time for sort of growth, certainly from a financial space. Now, what follows through with that as we move into July time is a celebration card. 6 of Wands comes in. Celebration, success, really going through something and seeing it through to the end, even if it's been tricky, even if it's been compromising, even if it's really tested you on a personal level, going through something, coming out the other side and coming out in a very real space, not having to sacrifice any part of who you are, keeping it real. 6 of Wands represents a hollow victory, generalized success and inner kind of appreciation for self, and certainly higher vibe energy, not giving yourself crap experiences, really making sure your world works for you firstly and then spills over to everybody else. A little bit of self-identity with this card as well. So if you're someone that's been struggling to accept or to be at peace with yourself, you might find as we move into July time that there's this light bulb moment where you start to really value, you really start to love and appreciate the essence of who you actually are and being at peace with that. So if you've sometimes been battling that, it's getting to a stage where actually you're at peace with you, which is really important. Now, we were doing so well, but as we move into August time, we're going into the Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands comes in as a little bit of a warning card. So with August time, I think we need to be a little bit cautious. We need to be a little bit careful. Now, because those previous cards that I've just followed have all been about kind of like success, high vibe energy, often when we invest in ourselves and when we move forward, sometimes our natural light can irritate other people around us. So it might be as we move into August time, certain people change the behavior that they carry towards you. You may not have done anything, you may just be investing completely in yourself, but because you're actually investing and you're not kind of sacrificing, you're not compromising, so you've put personal boundaries in place by sort of going through those cycles of change, your light may unintentionally irritate some people around you, because Nine of Wands represents a card of having to be careful, having to be cautious, definitely looking at the energy you're keeping with people, making sure there aren't any sort of snakes in the grass or people that are a little bit fake or a bit underhanded. And sometimes with this card, it can also indicate sort of hearsay or gossip or things being taken out of context, hence why this person is trying to guard their post, but they feel a little bit battered, they feel a little bit injured. And essentially, if you're doing well, if you're doing fabulous, if it is irritating somebody else, tough, because it takes effort to invest in ourselves. A lot of people want the quick fix, and a lot of people can't be asked to get it, because you can't have a quick fix situation. You've got to invest in yourself firstly, and that's how we grow, that's how we mature, that's how we get the riches of life. And some people can't be asked for that. They feel entitled to it, but they don't want to do the inner work. So there could be some snakes around you with this. So these sort of wall of wands is keeping all the good stuff in and trying to keep anything negative or anything hostile out. So just have your wits about you. Just be very cautious with this time period of where you're sending your energy lines, your inputs and your outputs, who's in your circle, who's around you, and are they giving you the best experience? Because that is a warning card. Whatever that is, I think is going to be quite short-lived, because as we're moving into September time, we're going into the card of justice. Justice is really important. It's a karmatic card. It's basically saying in September, karma's coming in to kick anything's ass, anything or anyone, because it's not always a person. Sometimes it's a circumstance or a situation that you have found yourself in. But the sword is upright. It's revealing the truth. It's fighting any injustices that you might go through. You've also got these balancing scales, so it's trying to keep things balanced and keep things aligned. But the truth that might have been hidden from view at first will be getting exposed. So if you know there are injustices that you've been battling, or there are things that are a little bit underhanded or a bit untoward, in September time, watch those things get revealed and put right, essentially, because justice is there to be sort of received. And she's wearing the crown, and I really see this as enrichment, empowerment again. It's almost like a card of good triumphanting over evil, which maybe sounds a bit dramatic for some of you, but some of you might be going through something as dramatic as that. So just be aware of that. Now, as we're moving into October time, October takes us into a card where you might feel a little bit briefly confused, might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and you may just need to pull back, meditate, ground, re-earth your energy. Because we're moving into the Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups essentially is a card where we feel like we're being too pulled into too many different things, too many different situations are happening at once. And sometimes we feel a bit lost. Sometimes we feel like we can't see the wood for the trees with this, because there's just so much happening at once. Very often we feel emotionally overwhelmed with this card, and sometimes we just need to pull back. We need to space clear. We just need to get our bearings. So October, some of you might feel a little bit briefly overwhelmed with the energies going on around you, and just re-earth, reground, go back to basics if you are feeling a little bit like there's too much happening at once. And don't become sort of, the unhealed healer, because sometimes with this card, we sort of try and go out of our way to help everybody else, and we unintentionally end up taking everybody else's problems. So some of these cups that are filled with bits and pieces, they're not always your things to carry, but for some of you, you might feel like you've got to take them on as if they are your own, and you don't. So remember that. Now, as I'm moving into the final two cards, we're going into the energy of November time. This takes us into the Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles is a card of juggling. It's a card of making sure that there's balance and that the priorities are in place. I think if we think of this year, what's happened with energy prices and everything else, as we move into the end of next year with November, it could be a time for some of us where finances are starting to feel a bit fragile, or certainly there's a heightened awareness. You've got the sort of rough water behind, but the ships are still in control of where they're steering their boats. So there is control here. It's just maybe a little bit rough. It's just maybe a little bit battley at times. You've also got that figure of 8 running through. So that's the infinity symbol. It's that flow of love coming in from spirit. So remember that spirit can help your pathway at any time. Ask for them to help you, ask for them to stand in, because sometimes we expect our loved ones to sort of help us move forward, and they can't always do that. They like to be asked, but once that kind of acknowledgement has been made, often they can help us do anything sort of tricky. I don't see this as a huge problem. I just think with November, there might be a heightened cautiousness around making finances work for you. And again, don't get pulled into that trap of having to deliver more than you're able to. If you've got to pay bills over getting Christmas presents, that's just how it has to be, isn't it? Make your world work for you from a financial space there. Keep the balance and order. I feel exhausted now. And the last card, moving into the energy of December, going into the energy of the Hermit. The Hermit wants to take a gentle rest, wants to take a gentle breather. Maybe this year has got you people in too much. Maybe you've been around too many types of energy and you just need to pull back and to recharge. The Hermit loves a bit of solitude. They're looking for that. Sometimes they need that to reflect, just to be still and just to catch their breath. So I don't see this as anything bad or negative. I just see this as December time, needing to pull back, needing to connect with those great family members or friends or people that add purpose and value to your life, but also factoring in some time for yourself where you can just be still, where you can just be at one with yourself. So having that rest, having that recharge, that's really, really important. You've also got this sort of lantern, and the lantern will light your pathway when you feel ready to walk the sort of journey forward again. But there is no rush. You can take some time out. And I think it's giving yourself permission to have that experience, because sometimes we deny ourselves accessibility for that, and sometimes we need that. Otherwise, we run the risk of major burnouts, which we want to try and avoid. So yeah, there is a need for that here. So that is our 2023. So I hope you can make a little bit of sense of it. This video might be something that you have to keep going back over from time to time. So obviously, you can do that if you need to remind yourself of each sort of piece. But what we'll do now is we'll just channel a final card from my Wizard Within Oracle deck as an overall theme or conclusion of what 2003 may hold, may have, or may offer for us moving forward. Oops. Let's just see. Oh no, because one will throw itself at me. Oh, interesting. Not the card I was expecting to see. Okay, the Wizard's Cauldron. So the Wizard's Cauldron is a really cool artwork on this card. So basically with the Wizard's Cauldron, this is like around you. There could at times be some frustrations. There could be some battles of energy. And sometimes also with the Wizard's Cauldron, you're having to need to defend yourself. Maybe sometimes you're having to create a potion or having to go not so much into battle, but having to put boundaries in place to protect yourself, to keep everything good, to keep all your investments as they actually need to be. So that's quite an interesting card to show, actually. So I think in terms of energy, what you're creating, what you're sort of working hard to bring into fruition, protect it, honor it. Don't let anybody come in and take it from you, essentially. That's basically what this is about. The Wizard's not necessarily being a bit of a dick or an arsehole. He's protecting himself because he's been left no choice. So don't be put into situations where you feel you have to fight back or you have to defend. Put those boundaries in place before it gets to that stage where it becomes a problem. So that's quite interesting, actually. So definitely something to be a bit cautious, a bit careful of. So I hope you can make sense of this. I'm going to leave it with you. Have an amazing year ahead. I know that you guys will. And I will look forward to catching up with some of you lovelies at the various events that I've got planned, or the things that will be happening in the sort of future. So love and blessings. Look after yourself. Have a great year. And I'll see you all very soon. Bye for now.